The Octonauts is a show for young children that teaches them about different marine environments and organisms. Of course, being a show for kids means that sometimes they do have to embellish in what they show. The episode I was to work on is Octonauts and a Walrus Pups. I chose this episode because I love walruses, but the episode doesn't exactly focus on them. Instead, it shows us some of Captain Barnacle's past so he can have motivation to help his, obviously the same render, niece and nephew. Before we hop into the actual episode, let's talk about some abiotic and biotic factors of the Arctic. The salinity in the Arctic Ocean is 30 PSU and lower because it varies per region. Due to sea ice and strong winds, there is significantly less light availability in the Arctic Sea. The temperature is approximately negative 1.8 degrees Celsius, which is near the freezing point of water. There is very little precipitation, and on the Arctic tundra, there is always a layer of permafrost, except in the summer, where it does melt a little bit. The currents in the Arctic Ocean include warm waters entering the Greenland, Iceland, or Norwegian Sea, which plunge downward when they meet the colder waters from northernly produced fresh water, southward drifting ice, and a colder atmosphere, and this contributes greatly to the world temperature. Next, let's go over the biotic factors. There is less biodiversity in the Arctic than other environments. Only a few species of moss, algae, lichens, and flowery plants exist, as well as mites and ticks that live in the Arctic. Now that we've gone over these basics of the Arctic, let's get into the actual episode. First, we see Captain Barnacles, this polar bear by the way, reminiscing about the old days to his, obviously the same render, niece and nephew, about how he had beef with walruses in his days of trying to get his last badge for the Polar Scouts. This has apparently haunted him for the rest of his life.
And so I never managed to earn my Walrus rescue badge. But now...
However, Captain Barnacles doesn't have the time to reflect on life's greatest disappointments, and instead tells his niece and nephew the newest badge they'll get, which is totally not dangerous in nature.
This one is for swimming through an obstacle course of ice floes.
Before he sends his niece and nephew to certain death, they are prevented by the cries of, "The Walrus Pups, let's go!" They swim across to another ice floe where the 3 Walrus Pups are left stranded. Alright, now that we've gotten to the animal of the hour, let's discuss the other animals of the Arctic region. The plankton in this area are the planktonic sea snail, and I'm not even going to bother to pronounce that second one. Fish in the area is the Arctic lamprey. Invertebrates occur more than 90% in the benthic realm, which include crabs, lobsters, and krill. Other important groups include squid, octopi, snails, clams, and mussels. The marine mammals include the narwhal and the ringed seal, as well as orcas. The birds include the Arctic tern, and I'm not even going to bother pronouncing this one either. Like, what is this? There are no marine reptiles in the Arctic because I am certain they would all freeze to death. Relationship in the Arctic is mutualism between algae and lichen. Even though this isn't in the Arctic Sea, it is in the Arctic tundra, so I think it counts. Algae is naturally photosynthetic and is able to transform carbon dioxide into the sugar that fungus feeds on. Meanwhile, the lichen helps protect the algae by getting minerals from substrate and retaining water. As a result, the green algae and the lichen both benefit from their relationship. Back to the episode! Now that the characters have shared some banter, they've gotten hit by an iceberg! Wait, what? This is where the episode first caught me off guard. I was not expecting a show for 3-year-olds to go this route, and it only gets crazier from here. The Walrus Pups apparently have a death wish as they refuse to move from their ice floe due to their mother's orders.
Her mum said not to move from this ice floe. I know what to do. Hey!
Captain Barnacle sends an octo alert, and Peso avoids saying death in a TV show aimed at toddlers.
Oh no, when the icebergs crash into each other, you could all get hurt.
The Octonauts have to make Walrus Pup formula to feed the Walrus Pups while also preparing the rescue the group. Meanwhile, Captain Barnacles is an absolute chad and literally stares death in the face while protecting everyone else. Mans is just punching ice pieces and just throwing them to the side. We need an Octonauts power scaling video out here. I already thought this episode was entirely absurd, but oh my gosh, I just snapped when I saw this. Now, I wasn't the only one in my class to get a character-driven episode, but I do believe I was the only one to get a character literally having a fight scene against the forces of nature, and of course it had to be me. Why did it have to be me? Now that we've seen a fair share of the episode, let's discuss what it got right and what it might have gotten wrong. First of all, here's some facts that the episode got right about the Arctic ecosystem. Walrus moms do leave their pups on ice while they forage for food. The reason is because pups lack tusks, so they can't really forage for food themselves. Walruses only have two natural predators, the polar bear and the orca. Walrus mothers are extremely protective of their pups. The reason I mentioned that they have two natural predators, including the polar bear, is because the walruses at the beginning of the episode seem to not really like Captain Barnacles, and this is probably because he's a polar bear. Walrus mothers nurse their young for about 2 years. Walrus milk is about 30% fat, 5 to 10% protein, and 60% water. This is why Peso needed to make a walrus pup formula, because they can't just drink regular milk that the Octonauts might have just had in their fridge. Polar bears can actually break ice if they apply enough pressure. This could be done for a number of reasons, but one is to make a hole for them to get food under the water. So, yes, apparently, Captain Barnacles punching through the ice is something that is most likely plausible in real life. And I just can't believe that. Nature is crazy. Also, apparently walrus moms do cuddle and hug their pups because they are very sociable. Next, here's the fictional portions of the episode. While icebergs do crash and break down in an extremely similar way shown in the episode itself, it hasn't been documented of icebergs crashing into each other because most videos are icebergs crashing into shorelines. But this is less of a fiction and more of a we just haven't caught it on tape yet. But I hope it counts. So Quasi, this cat, literally drills through the iceberg to break it apart, getting his own Chad moment. While the walrus pups eventually stop wishing for death and finally come along with the Octonauts. They get fed by Peso, my favorite character by the way, and are returned to their mothers, and everything is well, except the niece and nephew are probably traumatized from this entire situation. They're gonna have to live with this for the rest of their life. I guess the main idea of this video is that we can severely underestimate children's programming, even when it's entirely correct in its assessment. Even though it does embellish from time to time, it's mostly for the entertainment value of a kid's show. I do leave you guys with a quick environmental warning, because unfortunately all is not well in the Arctic, as you guys know. There is global warming, but there's also the issue of commercial fisheries, which is a major threat to the Arctic habitat. With the decline in fish populations, such as the Atlantic cod, which affects food webs, water temperature is also changing due to commercial fisheries. These affect fish populations distributions either directly or indirectly through the food web. Could also disturb krill, as well as the people who also fish for krill. Krill is a major food source for many species of whale, seal, bird, and fish species in the Arctic. It's used for animal feed, aquaculture feed, bait, and food for humans. So overfishing krill could possibly permanently disrupt/destroy the ecosystem for everybody involved. However, there is a way to fix this. Thankfully, the Arctic Sea is incredibly protected, as the government placed a ban on any fishing in the Arctic due to negative impact it had on the environment. So we'll hopefully see the Arctic heal from its issues, at least one that isn't the ice caps melting from global warming. That one, we're still working on it. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video. It was a school project, but I did want you guys to have something from me at the end of the week. And to my classmates who are also watching this right now, subscribe or else I'll send these walrus pups to scream in your ear while you try and sleep. And to my teacher, thank you for having such an awesome class, and thank you for giving me content for my YouTube channel. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and bye! See you later!